Howdy BookTube! Nikki here. Welcome to my extremely belated April wrap-up. April was a crazy, crazy month. I had a wedding, and then a convention, and then I bought a car. It took me 3 weeks after I bought the car to get the car, and then I had to give them the car back because they did it wrong. How do you forget to tint windows of a car? Anyway, my point is, April was busy, so I didn't make a video. Sorry about it. I did, however, manage to read 9 things in April. None of them were The Raven Cycle. Whoops! I really need to read that series. The 4th book is now out. But 3 of those books were from the Animorphs series, and I finally reached book 10 because I said that I was going to make a video when I got to book 10, and this is book 10. I read it. I'm way behind because there are 64 of these. The first book that I finished in April was actually one of my March TBR books that I forgot to read. I was sitting here making my wrap up and I was like, what was my TBR pick? Whoops. Forgot to read it. But that was Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon by Naoko Takeuchi. My Japanese is non-existent. This is the story of Sailor Moon. I grew up with the anime dubs where they cut entire episodes in half, changed stories and stuff, and I started watching at one point some of the original Japanese subtitled versions, but I never got too far in. I started watching Sailor Moon Crystal when they rebooted that, but I didn't really keep up with it, and all along I was thinking I really want to read the manga first. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I love the characters and I love the story and I love the art. Probably my favorite thing about this is just that whether the art is really like beautiful drawings or if it's like a cute moment or if it's like just dialogues happening, the art always looks amazing. I did find a lot of it super familiar because obviously the episodes of the TV show quite early on followed pretty much exactly this. So we got kind of similar enemy of the week type stuff. We were getting introduced to a bunch of the Sailor Scouts, so it was kind of repetitive. And there were a lot of moments where it's like, oh, I'll tell you this piece of information later. And I kind of already knew it because I watched the TV show. But a lot of that is because I watched the TV show. So independently of that, this book was really fun. 4 out of 5 stars. Really excited for the next one. Spoilers, I've already read it. It's amazeballs. In April, I went to a convention called Supernova on the Gold Coast and it was amazing. But they had some really great authors. I met Maria V. Snyder and she was really, really sweet and she hates Insta-love. Watch out. I also met Maria Lewis, who is so fun. She was the first person to correctly identify my costume as not Batgirl, but Batwoman. And not only just Batwoman, Bombshell Batwoman. She even signed my book to Bombshell Batwoman or something. She was really fun. She's my new style icon, by the way. You should check out her Instagram. I don't even care if you read her book or not. If you do want to read it, it's called Who's Afraid. I also met Lynette Noni, the author of Akane, I always pronounce it wrong, and she gave me a beautiful bookmark and I lost it. And the last author that I met was Justin Woolley. I knew I was going to be meeting him, so before I went I read his book as well, which was A Town Called Dust. This is set in basically the Australian desert, kind of like low sci-fi. There's no technology to speak of, but there are ghouls, or as we know them, zombies. They're super thirsty, they will drink anything, including your bodily fluids, right out of your face. Ew. So people live in this city called Alice, and it's quite defended by a big wall and what they call diggers, who are basically soldiers that defend the people from these ghoulish zombie things that are trying to kill them all. There are a bunch of outer towns and we follow 2 characters. The first is a boy named Squid and he's an orphan boy who lives with his aunt and uncle and is a moisture farmer. No, that is Luke Skywalker. He's a dirt farmer. But Luke Skywalker also lived with his aunt and uncle and farmed something weird. We also follow a girl named Lynn who's quite well off. Her father is like the military advisor for the administrator, who's like the person in charge, and their lives become intertwined and there's a bit of a battle for power between this kind of weird church system and the actual government. The ghouls are happening. These 2 kids get caught up in all of it. I think this is probably the most underrated thing that I've read all year. It was so refreshing and different from other dystopians that I've read. I was a bit nervous reading another kind of like, oh, it's a dystopian future, everything's gone to crap type thing. I loved the way that Justin Woolley wrote the world. Like you could totally 100% imagine what everything looked like and how the people lived. And also I loved that the teenagers acted like teenagers. They were both very sheltered for different reasons. There's no insta-love or love triangles because there's no romance. It's just an incredible story. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I don't really know why I didn't give it the extra 0.5. Maybe I will because I really loved it. Maybe it is a 5. I definitely want to read the rest of this. This is a trilogy, so the next 2 books are already out. The 3rd book just came out. I was going to pick it up, but I bought this big Animorphs toy and I couldn't fit anything else in my bag that day. Next I read a couple of graphic novels. The first was DC Comics Bombshells Volume 1, Enlisted. This is actually the character that I dressed up as, Bombshell Batwoman. She's literally a Batwoman. That's a baseball bat. She plays baseball. This comic book takes a bunch of DC heroes and villains, all ladies, and puts them into an alternate World War II and they fight the Nazis. Can we just appreciate how amazing that is? I read the first issue of this and I already decided that I was going to be Bombshell Batwoman for this convention, so I figured I'd better pick up the first trade, which is the first 6 issues, written by Marguerite Bennett, and Marguerite Sauvage did a lot of the art, and I actually like her art the most. She's got this like loose drawing, beautiful style, and I totally loved it. But all the art's really great. I really love the story. I love how we get introduced to all of the characters and we get like a decent backstory from each of them, plus sort of a sense of where they're going. I think that was just done amazingly. It's got me so excited for the series. I gave this 5 stars. I'm so excited for the series. My friend collects the single issues and I'm so tempted to go over her house and just steal them in the night so I can be up to date with this series. But I really recommend it if you want to start reading a DC comic series but you don't want to have to worry about being in the middle of the New 52 or the Rebirth world that's about to come out, or Earth 1 or Earth 2 or whatever. This is kind of its own thing. It's really easy to just pick up. It tells you all the superheroes and what they can do and where they came from. It's a really good starting point if you want something historical and fun. After that, I decided that I wanted to pick up more Batwoman because I really liked her in that series, but I haven't actually read a whole lot of Kate Kane Batwoman in a long time. So I had this on my shelf. It's Batwoman #1 Hydrology. It's the first one in the New 52. I bought it ages ago when I bought a bunch of New 52 stuff. This is by J.H. Williams III and W. Hayden Blackman, but I was kind of put off by the art style. It looks a bit like weird and out there and sort of dark, and I kind of was like, maybe I shouldn't have bought this. Maybe it's not my thing. So I picked it up and I read it, and I learned that sometimes my instincts are just absolutely right. I didn't like this at all. It wasn't for me. Like, one, the art was super weird and the panels were often done quite differently, and both of those together, combined with the fact that the colors were so like dark and Kate herself was really pale, just were really visibly jarring for me. And the villain was like supernatural and weird, and I didn't even know, did she beat the villain? I don't know. It was weird and I just didn't like that. So this is not for me. I think I gave it 2 stars. Not for me. After that, I picked up 12 Doctors, 12 stories by all of these different YA authors. These are 12 different stories about 12 different doctors from Doctor Who. Normally with short story collections, I expect that there's going to be a few that I don't like, and so I give myself extra time to read it, and this did take me a little while to get through, but I think I loved every single one of the stories. Like, my least favourite was probably Rochelle Meads. That's fair enough, because I didn't really like Vampire Academy. Sorry. But I still really liked that story. So I gave it 5 stars, because it's amazing. It is amazing. And I don't usually like movie, TV show, tie-in books that don't have any influence on the plot, which none of these can, because half of these happened like a bajillion years ago. So they can't really retrospectively rewrite Doctor Who, but it just worked. It worked so well. Oh my gosh. I feel like every single author completely captured the Doctor, captured the companions completely, captured the heart of Doctor Who, and it made me want to go back and watch all of the past Doctors because they sound awesome. Standout for me was probably Derek Landes. He did the 10th Doctor, so it was my favourite author, pretty much doing my favourite Doctor. Other standouts were Holly Black's, Neil Gaiman's, Owen Culver's was really cool, Mallory Blackman's was cool too. They were all just really good. I gave this 5 stars. I couldn't recommend this enough. Whether you're a fan of old Who or new Who, like, just do it. Just read this. It's so good. And the last thing that I read was my TBR pick for the month, which also happened to be the Booksplosion book of the month. I don't know, a lot of people were reading this book, but it was Second Chance Summer by Morgan Matson. I was kind of holding on to the last dregs of summer, even though it's not really summer anymore, but it's starting to cool down in Australia. Cool down in Australia. It's about a girl named Taylor, and she likes to run away from her problems. Literally, she runs away all the time. And her and her family have this summer house that they haven't visited in ages, because last time they were there, it was not fun, so they didn't do it anymore. Her and her family get some bad news. So they're going back to their summer house to spend one last summer together. And Taylor doesn't want to go back because last time she was there, she was 12. She did some pretty jerky things. It was all about second chances with your family and second chances with friendships and that sort of thing. I got to the second chapter of this and I was like, geez, this is going to be a sad book. I was not prepared for this. I was not prepared for this. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I really like Morgan Matson's writing. It's so easy to read. I think I finished this in like a day, and it did get me in the feels. I finished this at like 2 o'clock in the morning, bawling my eyes out. I really like the focus that it had on family, because that's awesome, and that's something that too often gets overshadowed by love triangles and angst. I did think that it was kind of over-exaggerated what Taylor had done when she was 12 years old. I did some stupid things when I was 12. Nobody held a grudge when I was 17 about them though. And I felt like while some of the characters were so rich, like Taylor and her dad, I felt like other characters kind of were a little bit flat. Her brother was basically a piece of cardboard for a lot of the book. And her best friend Lucy wasn't completely cardboard or anything, but I did want more from her. I wanted more from that friendship, but I mean, mean, it was focused on the family, so I understand why. I can't remember if I gave this a 3.5 or a 4 stars, and I'm too lazy to go check. I enjoyed it, and I will definitely be checking out more Morgan Matson. I see now. People like her writing. It's good. I like it. So these are all the books that I read in April. Woohoo! You may have noticed that I didn't read my comic book graphic novel, TBR pick, which was Sailor Moon Volume 2. You'll be happy to know that I finished that on like the first day of May or something. So it'll be in my next wrap up. I will read my TBR books in the right month from now on. Unless it's The Raven Cycle, because that's not here. And it was on my TBR. It was like pretty much the only thing I put on my TBR. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of those books. And tell me in the comments who your favourite lady superhero is. Just found out they're going to make a Harley Quinn movie, but not just about Harley Quinn. There's going to be other DC villains in there. Maybe Batgirl. I'm so excited. Like DC could be the first one to give us a female superhero movie with Wonder Woman. And they could also be the first one to give us a lady squad. I'm gonna go film a comic book haul now because I bought so many comic books that I don't know what to do with myself right now. But I will see you next time, and in the meantime, go check out my other channel. I just like rebooted it, and by reboot, I mean uploaded a video for the first time in a year. Woohoo! So if you want to see cats and people dressed up as Star Wars characters, go there. Look at the thing. Click the, I don't know where I'm gonna put it. It's gonna be somewhere.